back here in March. Ferry and Adjei scored second half goals against a really poor Celtic on the day. A result that left them third and 5 points behind the leaders' Hearts and 2 behind Rangers. Their goal difference was inferior to both of them as well, and there were just 7 games to play after that. You just didn't think Celtic were going to go on and lift the title after watching that display here, but they won the rest of their matches and the rest is history. As Callum McGregor goes through the formalities there with Michael Forbes, who's going to skipper Dundee United this evening. McGregor joins his players for their traditional pre-match huddle. A bit of evening sunshine here on the banks of the Tay. The United players are ready to go. A few last conversations going on between some of the teammates down there as they look to upset the odds again and beat Celtic for a third successive game here inside their own stadium, where they haven't lost since the end of January. And they finished the match with 9 men, beaten by Hearts 3-0. And since then, they've been just about, not quite flawless, but they've certainly been unbeaten. Celtic then will kick off left to right, shooting down the hill towards the Eddie Thompson stand. United in their tangerine and black will shoot towards the shed. Celtic in the green and white hoops as it's rolled back by Hu to McGregor, and out to the left it goes for Sebastian Tannadice, who's come into the team. One of a handful of changes made by Martin O'Neill for the game, having gone with the same 11 in their opening 2 league matches. As Carter Vickers finds Donovan on the near side, forward to Who's, controls poor and Chevy's onto it, finds Sapsford, but it bobbles off him and breaks kindly for Callum McGregor, who rolls it in field to Oxlade Chamberlain, who goes back to Trusty at the edge of his box. Low ball out to Scales on the far side, up the line for Tannadice, but his ball goes straight to Emmanuel Adjei, the United midfielder who has impressed since his arrival, particularly the latter part of last season. He started this season pretty well too. And it's moved out to this near side. A first feel of the ball for Chubotaru, the Romania international. Long ball forward from him comes all the way through to Carter Vickers, and then out to this near side. He gets it to Colby Donovan. Celtic have that massive Champions League playoff first leg to come on Wednesday evening against Lask, the Austrian champions. They wait a long time for their return to the upper echelons of Austrian football. It's going to be a tougher task, you feel, than the one Celtic failed in against Kairat a year ago, as they try and make the league phase of Europe's premier competition after a year off last time. Donovan gets it from Carter Vickers on this near side and rolls it back to McGregor, who'll go back to Williamson Isalo, the number 1 at Celtic these days. He slips it to his left for Trusty, out it goes to Scales, getting his first action of the season, but his ball forward is cut out and it breaks to Adjei as these two try and get themselves into the draw for tomorrow's quarter-final draw, and a place in the last 8 of this season's League Cup. After last night's thriller at Rugby Park, which Kilmarnock eventually managed to get the better of Ayr United in, we have seen Ross County and Aberdeen both make their way into the hat for that tomorrow, which will follow after the Rangers St Mirren game at Ibrox. It's going to be rolled over to this near side for Forbes, the Northern Irishman. As I said, skippering the team, but they've given it away midway inside their own half, and it's Camilo Duran trying to hold off Chubotaru, and he wins the free kick as well. And an opportunity for the first time in the match for Celtic to get the ball in on top of the United defence. 2.5 goalless minutes in.
Yeah, they take it short. It's always the case, but they want to just keep circulating the ball and trying to get it. I think the criticism in the first game was that they didn't have a lot of penetration. I thought there was loads of penetration last week, and that's important that they do that again today. Connected down the left, being faced by Jesse Randall. He's got his cross in, and it's just taken away from Benjamin Newgreen by Chevy's head, and it goes out for a throw into Celtic, level with the United 6-yard line on this near side, with Celtic right. And it's right down by the corner flag, just about, by the time Donovan takes this, trying the ball with his jersey as he bowls it into the penalty area. Flicked back by Duran, looking for Newgreen, but it's won back there well by Chubotaru, who gets it clear up towards the halfway line. Trusty meets it,
Forward it goes. Emmanuel Adjei gets there ahead of Donovan, and it's worked back to Chevy. He can only find touch though, and it's out into the stand below us. And Celtic have a throw-in round about midway inside the United half. Mark Reynolds.
It's been a good start from Celtic. I think they've got on the ball and they've moved it quickly, and I think, as you expect, Dundee United are quick to kind of press the ball and get moving about. And I think the only disappointing thing, when they win back possession, they're not keeping the ball. They're kind of just trying to clear their lines. And
given away by Chobotaro, who's in the box. He shows too much of it though to Esselink, who smashes it behind. It's fortunately, from a United point of view, it's come off the Celtic striker last, and that'll be a goal kick to the home team. But my goodness, Chobotaru's got away with one there. He pinched off him by Newgreen.
Oh, he's had a bad touch actually, because he had a great opportunity himself to go and have to strike, but he kind of almost looked off his shoulder to see could he tap it or square it to somebody else, and then he was closed down. So yeah, a big chance, but that was poor from Chobotaru, the Romanian.
Well done.
Yeah, I think that just sums up Dundee United's start to the game. Chobotaru got the ball and there's no options. He doesn't want to launch it up the pitch, but he doesn't have any teammates to find it, and Celtic have got that high press and managed to turn the ball over. So no, as I say, a good start from Celtic. They're moving the ball quickly, and Dundee United struggling just to get a foothold. They're defending well and moving about, but the longer the game goes on, the harder it gets to chase these shadows for 90 minutes. So no, they'll need to get a bit more possession and be better on the ball.
Now, last time they were here, Celtic were seriously lackadaisical across the board. United were well worthy of their win, but there's a bit more zest and energy about Celtic just now in the early part of the season. And the two new arrivals on the bench, Bauer and Hassan, as Donovan collects on this near side and lays it back to Carter Vickers, who in turn goes back to his goalkeeper. The Celtic supporters in the shed behind Sinisalo's goal, and all the way along the stand below us, the Jerry Kerr in fair play stands. Not a brilliant home turnout, but as ever for these games, you'll always have away supporters, particularly at the bigger clubs. They will want to travel, they want to get the tickets and their points up, but when it comes to the home crowd, sometimes it's not on the season tickets. It's very difficult sometimes for people to justify forking out another 30 odd quid. As United pick up a throw-in, and they're in the Celtic half for the first time really in the match. Rollins rolls it back the way though. Esselink finds Forbes, who under pressure from Newgreen goes back to his keeper. There's Jack Walton back for his second spell at the club. Long with the right foot, angled out to this near side. Donovan heads away, breaks to McGregor, back to Donovan in a right centre position, and rolls it back to Carter Vickers, who finds Oxlade-Chamberlain. Back to Trusty, who finds Sinisalo. It's going to be interesting to see Liam Scales' involvement in the Celtic starting lineups this season, Pat, as long as Carter Vickers and Trusty are fit. He's in today, but he's at left back in place of Tierney.
Yeah, well, he made the position his own over the last couple of seasons, and just at the start he was suspended, so whether that now gives Trusty the opportunity, but you know, he never lets the side down, Liam Scales. He gets a bit of stick from the fans. I don't know why, but certainly see how he gets into the team will be the challenge for him. But that's good.
I think he's had an excellent couple of seasons. Tannadice picks up wide in the left, attacking the left angle of the United box. He's managed to squeeze it to Oxlade-Chamberlain. There's a pop-it goal. It's tame, and it's a comfortable take for Walton. It's right at him. That's excellent build-up play by Celtic, driving down the left. He's pulled back to Oxlade-Chamberlain at the edge of the box. It's on target, but it was never threatening, and it stays 0-0. Mark.
Yeah, Celtic have started the front foot. They're moving the ball about well, as you said, cutting from the right back position through the middle of the pitch, through Oxlade-Chamberlain out wide left. But no, they've looked composing the ball, and I think the thing for me, the biggest change from when they were here the last time, is just that tempo in the ball. They're firing into each other, they're trusting each other in the ball, and they're really making Dundee United work off the ball. Difference when Dundee United get it, they are slowing it down a little bit more. They're trying to pick their passes and just trying to take the sting out of the game. I think the last thing you want to do is let Celtic get ahead of steam and start moving the ball, and it can be a long afternoon if that's the case.
Collected by Eskison on the far side, rolls it back to the edge of his own box. Esselink to Forbes, under pressure from Duran, who's all over him. He's facing his own goal now. It's not what he wants. He's passed it out to this near side. It bounces off Eskison, but over the touchline, and Celtic have a throw-in in an attacking position here down below us.
Yeah, they had an opportunity to play that ball forward. They obviously, as you said, Mark, try to slow it down, but I think the pass forward was on there, and they put down the ball at the risk.
Rolled in towards Casper, who on the stretch can only tow it behind for the goal kick.
United look almost reluctant to send that long ball up front. They've had a couple of opportunities where the full-back or the centre-backs had a chance to look up and send it long, and he's opted to try and play short, and it's playing right into Celtic, who are on that front foot and just ready to press, and they almost look like they're setting a trap and waiting for it. They've already had a little bit of success with the turnover early on, and I'm sure that won't be the last.
And they have that target up front now, Rose, isn't he? He's big enough, he looks big enough and strong enough to be able to hold it in.
He caused Rangers plenty of problems in the opening night here. Carter Vickers slides in, wins it back and finds Oxlade-Chamberlain. That was a bonus for him. To the right, it goes to Duran. Hugren ahead of him, decides to chop back away from Adjei, and that's a great ball out to Tannadice, left-hand side of the box. Cuts in field on the right, on the left, pulls it across, wins the corner. Important block that as it goes bouncing off Rollins and behind for Celtic's corner.
Yeah, he'd done well. It was a good pass out to him, and he took Rollins on, but Rollins stuck to his task and got a vital block in when it just looked as if he was going to roll that ball across to Casper Hu.
Tannadice over the corner, in swinger with the right boot coming up. Bends it into the 6-yard box, headed away by Rollins and helped on its way by Eskison, and now it will go for a throw in to Celtic level with the 18-yard line.
Yeah, it's noticeable from Dundee United though is that they're playing with their back four. They're keeping them at home at the moment, and that player sitting in front, Eskison, Danish player, he's sitting in front there protecting that back four, so there's a lot less room for Casper Hu to operate in.
10 minutes in, sorry Mark, still 0-0.
No, so I was just going to say they're absolutely not going man for man there. They're using that back four and making sure that they're doubling up, and there's plenty of cover there. But I think even last season, Dundee United defended their box very well for me. They always win that first contact, so it needs to be a good ball in. But as we saw last week, Casper Hu's got that movement, and you think you've got him, and he just drifts off and finds his space.
It's back with the United keeper, Walton. Under pressure from Hu, gets it away. It's not a great ball out though. Oxlade-Chamberlain first time out to Duran on the near side. Celtic win it back, cheaply given away by the United number one. Out to Tannadice on the left, back to Scales, but the pass back to Tannadice was well read by Rollins. He pinches it back for United, trying to squeeze it in field to Randall, who goes down, and that's going to be a free kick to Dundee United wide on the right side.
Yeah, Liam Scales struggling a little bit to find his passing in that left back position, giving the ball away on a few occasions, and I think just rusty as he hasn't played. He's been out of the team, and the left back situation is different than when you play centre half. Less opportunity to get your passes.
No, as I think the other one that's struggling with his passing for me is Jack Walton. That's been 2 or 3 passes that's come to him in the middle of his 6-yard box, and he's just sclaffed, and they've dropped right in the middle of their own defensive half and causing real problems.
Throwing United up the pitch here though, into the box it comes, might break back the way to Eskison, and he shoots off the post. Best chance of the game so far, and it comes for Dundee United, and Julius Eskison has his head in his hands there as he smashed it from just on the edge of the box. Sinisalo was absolutely rooted, and it bounces off the outside of the post and away to safety, and it stays goalless.
Yeah, that huge hole at the edge of the box that Celtic allowed to develop, and centre-half just drifted off Casper Hu and stepped forward and had all the time in the world to pick a spot. Just didn't, he sclaffed it a little bit, he didn't quite get good connection on it. Yeah,
it's a great chance, and he'll be disappointed he doesn't hit the back of the net. But for me again, Dundee United last season, unbelievable those long throws. The amount of times that they win that first contact and pick up the second balls, they've had real success from it, and lucky for Celtic there that they never managed to capitalise on that.
A good opportunity it was, but here come the visitors, and it's Hu rolling it out to Camilo Duran, attacking the United box now, right side of it, onto the left side. His shot is blocked by Eskison, and it pops out to this near side. In fact, it's a long one forward, looking for Randall, and he evades him, comes all the way through to Sinisalo, who plays it short to his left for Scales, who strides across halfway, and infield to Oxlade-Chamberlain, and goes back to Trusty.
Yeah, it was good defending there, wasn't it? When Duran, he's always going to cut on the inside, but it was good defending. You knew what he was going to try to do, curl that one round, and it was a good block.
No, absolutely, it's a great block, and again, Dundee United done well to pick up the scraps and try and build their own attack.
Game's been played at a decent pace so far. It's Donovan collecting, facing away from the United goal, goes back to Carter Vickers.
The game's just starting to settle down a little bit into a bit more of a rhythm, and Celtic being a bit less kind of deliberate and trying to, I think the first opening 10 minutes they were trying to get after everything. Now they're picking their times and they're waiting to see if there's that gap from Dundee United, but still moving the ball about side to side and always looking forward and trying to get in behind like they are here.
Yeah, Duran down the right side, going to get there. First time cross at the byline, and it comes. Not a decisive header away there by Forbes, who's then fouled by Who, and that will be a free kick to United, as good as a goal kick inside their box. United 0, Celtic 0. We are on 14 minutes at Tannadice.
I think the big thing for me here with Celtic is that they're not really kind of rushing to get that ball forward. They're comfortable in possession, they're moving the ball about, they're increasing and decreasing the tempo as required, but every time their midfield or kind of wingers get the ball, they're always looking forward, and you see it there, they're happy if they need to just flick it in behind and try and catch Dundee United out. But no, they've started the game very well, and Dundee United defending them manfully and slowly building their way into the game as well.
And their win against Celtic in December last season was their first after 23 failed attempts at success against them, and it's just 3 wins and 37 attempts for Dundee United, going back to a 2012 win when Scott Robertson scored the only goal, although 2 of them have clearly come in the last 3 meetings. As Trusty goes back to his keeper, it's not a great ball out by Sinisalo, who's off his line, and it's Eskison to Adjei, who shoots off the post again! The same post! When it bounces back out, and this time it's Emmanuel Adjei's turn to look to the heavens and wonder how on earth he's not giving Dundee United the lead. What a chance! He's just trying to pass that into the bottom corner. It stays goalless.
Yeah, he drops off really well into the space and gets it, and I think he did really well. It was a mistake from Sinisalo initially. He just put his foot through it, and he didn't make good connection.
Meantime, there's a foul on Tannadice on the far side. The card is out for the first time in the match. It's Eskison who hit the post earlier. He picks up the yellow card for the challenge over on the far side. Celtic lots of possession. We'll see a replay of that. We do have a monitor here. Eskison got a bit of the ball, but ref didn't like it. The guy's getting a chance to see Adjei's effort again.
Yeah, Dundee United will be disappointed. That's 2 great chances. They've stuck to their task manfully, and while they've not kind of controlled the ball, they've defended well, and they've forced Celtic into mistakes, and more importantly, when Celtic have made the mistakes, they've managed to capitalise on it. So no, I think Jim Goodwin's going to be relatively happy. The game plan's working, maybe not getting as much of the ball as they want, but making Celtic work. And I think if Celtic have 90% possession and Dundee United still a 1-0 win, then it's job done for United.
But what is it they say about if you take a shot at the king, Pat, you've got to take that opportunity when it comes along.
You've said it many times on this station, Liam, and you're absolutely right. If you don't take your chances when they arrive, then you get done, and that's 2 big chances for Dundee United. Absolutely. I thought Adjei did possibly maybe a little bit more pace on a shot, that was all, but he got almost the accuracy, and it was low down to the keeper's right hand side, who didn't really have a Scooby with that one, but he gave away the ball, which is critical.
I say take a shot at the king. Of course, St Mirren are the kings of the League Cup right now.
Depends who you ask. I think Martin O'Neill was still an impression that Celtic were the kings.
He was, but again, so much success at that football club. It's really difficult for the supporters to remember which trophies they're actually in possession of at times.
I was unlucky enough to live that period of time where Celtic were winning everything, so you don't need to remind me.
The thing is, like the Aberdeen team that you played in, the one 2017 Scottish Cup final, I mean, any other team, potentially any other Celtic team in the last 15 years, you'd have probably won that game.
Yeah, no,
that was the invincible one.
We just seemed to bump into a Celtic team that just didn't know how to lose.
Callum McGregor was very much part of that, and he's on this free kick midway inside his own half. Left to centre, squares it to Carter Vickers, and out to Donovan on this near side. Forward it comes to Newgreen. And now it's with Duran, infield to Donovan. And then Oxlade-Chamberlain to Scales, wide left to Tannadice. No goals yet, but Tannadice's getting to the byline, gets the cross-ins before he got there, headed half away. Scales ushers it back to McGregor. Tannadice is still available out on the left. That's where it is now, up against Rollins, gets his cross in, headed away by Esselink.
Yeah, that's a couple of times now he's had the ball. Here's a chance.
Yeah, McGregor scampering down the left as he likes to do, gets in for Who, and his header glances across the goal frame, and Walton comes and claims both hands in the air, and it stays Dundee United 0, Celtic 0. United try and counter, but that's going to go out of play for a throw-in on the far side. Despite Randall's best efforts, it stays 0-0.
Yeah, sorry, Mark, I was just going to say about Tannadice. He had 2 chances to deliver, which he did, but he's got to get it up into the air. He's got, as you rightly said before the game, or was it Andy Halliday that said it? I think that was almost planned, that they would knock it up into the air for Casper Hu to come and attack the ball against Kilmarnock.
Tannadice driving down the left inside channel. He's at the edge of the box. He's got Scales out to the left if he wants him. Instead he passes it to Donovan, out to the right hand side of the box for Duran. It's level with the penalty spot, level with the 6-yard line now, and then turns back facing his own goal. Under pressure he is from Sapsford. As Duran goes back to McGregor. United holding their line well. Jim Goodwin just telling his players to push out a little bit. He comes back to Sinisalo. No goals in the game. We played 19.5 minutes at Tannadice. And it's with Carter Vickers up towards the halfway line. Out to Donovan on this near side. Along the halfway line for Oxlade-Chamberlain, knocks it forward to Benjamin Newgreen. And then back to Donovan and back to Sinisalo. United have got through that crucial, there's so many crucial periods in a game of football, particularly when you're coming up against this Celtic team who can hurt you at any point. But it's these little bookmarks, 20 minutes into the match and no damage done. And indeed, United have hit the post twice.
No, they have. Unfortunately, I'm going to be no help here, because for the last 3 or 4 minutes I've just been watching Casper Hugh's movement, and he'd be an absolute nightmare to play against. He's drifting off the shoulders, he's in between the players, and as a centre-half pairing you don't know who's got him. His movement's been outstanding, and yeah, you can see why he scored those goals last week, and he's causing real problems already, and probably just a matter of time before he catches out and finds himself in some space.
Headed away there by Chevy into the Celtic half, chested down by Carter Vickers. McGregor gets it back to Donovan, and he's gone back to Sinisalo again. Short ball to the left there with Austin Trusty. And a walking pace.
I think the other thing here as well for Dundee United is you touched on it yourselves in terms of taking that shot at the King and missing. I think the mindset needs to be for Dundee United that they're very much in this game and that they've had chances, and if they keep doing what they're doing, that more chances will come. I think if they submit to the mindset of that they've lost their best chances, and it's going to be a long night.
Duran finds Donovan in the United box, smashes it across the 6-yard line. Chevy gets the touch to put it behind for Celtic's second corner of the evening. McGregor's already out to this near side to take in front of the tunnel. Short to Newgreen. Good little sleight of foot there into the box as he is challenged, and it goes behind for another corner, this time off Rollins.
Yeah, it's really good play from Celtic, that diagonal pass out Duran, and then of course Kobe Donovan getting himself forward very, very quickly to get into a great position for the cutback.
Newgreen taking his time over this one now. He looks to bend it in with the left foot, and it comes flick for goal. It's a brilliant header from Trusty to give Celtic the lead at Tannadice. Outstanding glancing header across Walton into the far left corner of the net. And Celtic, who have had to survive 2 United attempts off their upright, have the lead. Dundee United 0, Celtic 1, 22 on the clock.
Yeah, listen, the goalkeeper, no chance with that one. That was a good corner, hit him with a bit of pace into that near post, but he gets across. I'm trying to see, it was Esselink who was maybe picking him up. He was slow to react for Trusty's run, maybe he was blocked off, but certainly, yeah, he came through a number of bodies to try to get to him, and Trusty got there first, and all he needed was to get a touch on the ball, and it goes in off almost just inside the back post. But good corner from Celtic.
No, it's a great corner. It's a hard one for Dundee United to try and dominate in that 6-yard box. It's great movement. He runs them through a pack of players, and with that type of ball coming in, and we're getting first contact and glancing it across the face, you say goalkeeper no chance, and defender, once you lose that half yard you can't make it up. And perfect delivery in, perfect header, and yeah, Dundee United will be disappointed.
Well, they'll be doubly disappointed given they had those 2 efforts off the post, and that's what Celtic do. Don't take those opportunities, and Celtic are hungry for more. Oxlade-Chamberlain's got Tannadice away down the left again. Infield, he comes at the left angle of the box, waits for Scales in the overlap and gives it to him. He's round about the corner flag though. Back to Tannadice. Perhaps being a little bit more direct would have been more beneficial to the Norwegian-born Tunisian there. This comes back to Carter Vickers in the centre circle. Newgreen forward to Hu. Out it comes to Duran on this near side. Little ball in field to Nugren. He's managed to slip it into Oxlade-Chamberlain in the box. Ominous for United. Across it comes off who? Bundled home. Duran finds the net. It might well have come off whose hand, but I think it might have come off a body part first. And Camilo Duran comes over to celebrate on the near side. His first Celtic goal. 2 goals in less than 2 minutes. And Celtic have 1 foot in the quarters. Dundee United 0, Celtic 2. How ruthless is that?
Yeah, they've just accelerated through the gears against Celtic, and Dundee United are rocking here. I think they're claiming for the handball from who. It definitely hits him in the hand, but I don't know the exact ruling for if he doesn't capitalise on it and score and somebody else does, there might be a way that the goal will still stand. But no, it's great play, great movement, great ball across the back, and it's a great reaction to get that ball in the net. So it'll be interesting to see what the officials say here, but it definitely hits him in the hand. I just don't know what the exact rules are.
Well, I don't know whose foot it's come off. It might well have come off whose foot first and then bounced back onto his hand. But I think that's past the VAR. I think they're looking for a possible foul by who now rather than the handball. So they're happy with the handball. Duran, wide smile as he puts Celtic 2-0 up. But they are looking to see if who fouled the defender here.
Yeah, they'll take a bit of time on this. You know, obviously using his body strength in that 6-yard box. Both of them sliding in for the ball. I don't think it's a foul. I think probably, I'd be disappointed if it come off his hand and falls into the path of Duran, that's for sure. But I don't know what the rule is on that.
The guys are having a look at a replay of it here.
I don't think this is a foul. I think he was actually, the defender Essling was holding him actually a little bit.
I think they're both at it. You've seen them give him both ways, but no.
Right, the goal's going to stand here. 2-0 to Celtic, and Dundee United are in a whole world of trouble now.
I think we're talking about whose physicality and his goal-scoring ability, but that's what Celtic have missed. The ball gets fired across it and he manages to hold off the defender. He makes it drop, and credit to Duran, who's the first one to react. I think he's the furthest away of 4 players, the other 3 being Dundee United players, and he's on the front foot, he nips between them and he gets his goal.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's his body strength trying to use it. Obviously the defender was under real pressure, he with his arms around him, but that didn't hold him back. And as soon as that ball comes in, he's hungry for goals. You can see, put it in there and at least I'll go in, and then anything can happen. And that's what happened with Duran then following in after he got the first touch on the ball. When it came wide to him, he carried on his run.
15 goals and 10 assists Duran managed for Karabag last season, and he's off and running in the green and white hoops as well now. Dundee United suddenly from a position where they were bedded into the game, having had the 2 best chances in the game, now find themselves potentially out of the game.
Yeah, they haven't done a lot wrong, Dundee United, that's for sure.
They haven't.
But it was that, again, penetrating run from Celtic initially from Duran, and I think Oxlade-Chamberlain was involved in it, and that difficult to pick up.
Yeah, these are the types of Celtic teams that I remember playing against. These are the teams where it's an even game, there's not much in it, and Celtic find a goal, and then before you know it, they've got another one, and they'll just keep building, and it's a huge uphill battle for Dundee United now, and they go from being organised and shifting the ball across and keeping Celtic largely contained to now 2 goals down and needing to make something happen.
Yeah, 2 in a couple of minutes for Celtic. Trusty finds Carter Vickers right of the centre circle inside his own half, lays it forward to Nugren. He goes back to Trusty. Mark mentioned it, that Celtic have kind of settled into the match, and they were just trying to pick United off. They've managed to do it twice. And the next goal is now massive in this tie. Scales, Celtic looking for it, and it comes, almost felt Oxlade-Chamberlain. Celtic supporters howling for handball in the box. United defender. Oxlade-Chamberlain finds Duran wide on the right, back to Oxlade-Chamberlain, bends the cross in, and it's flicked away there by Rollins. And the referees spotted a push, and United will have a free kick inside their own box, despite the protest of Casper who felt his shirt was being held.
Yeah, you just have to put it in there, haven't they? You know, and you're hoping then that Casper who either finds a bit of space or he ends up, out muscling the defender, but the defenders did well on that occasion, holding them off.
I think the other thing as well, when you've got someone like Casper who up front who's making that movement and is so dangerous, the defenders end up getting drawn to him, and you've seen it there, that he draws the defender at the front post, and you get a man running from midfield and he finds a lot of space in the middle, because the defence are so worried about the ball dropping to Hugh, whose physicality is causing real problems when you leave him one-on-one.
Mentally, Mark, this must be so tough for these United players. How can they try and get go back to the well now, having been competing well in the match, and then suddenly a quick 1-2, and they're on the precipice.
As crazy as it sounds, kind of just keep doing what they're doing. They've not done much wrong. Pat touched on it earlier. They've done well. They're unfortunately 2 goals behind, but no, they just need to get back on, get the ball moving, and really try and take the sting out of the game, because if you give Celtic a chance and you allow them to build up that head of steam, then 2 very quickly becomes 3 and 4 and 5.
West United were on the receiving end of a 9 a few years back, during the Postecoglou days. Here's Tannadice, stretching his legs, driving across the halfway line, driving into the United half. He claims he was fouled there, but the referee is going to bring it back. Stephen McLean. And it will be a Celtic free kick. Just about midway inside United territory and slightly left to centre.
Yeah, he did get fouled, but I thought his pass was poor. You know, he just almost gave up on the pass when he had a real opportunity to slip a Celtic player in.
He's just missing that final piece of the jigsaw there. He's done really well a couple of times down that left-hand side for Celtic. He's got past the man, he's beat the man, and he's either put a full cross in or he's checked back. And similar there, Pat, as you're touching on, he drives and he just doesn't get that final pass away.
Carter Vickers striding forward this time, deep into enemy territory, finds Oxlade-Chamberlain, disguised ball for Tannadice. It was so disguised, Tannadice wasn't expecting it, and then he did get onto it, but he slips. As the Celtic winger. And United come away with it with Sapsford. He's driven it forward, looking for Lachlan Rose, who is just not involved in this football match whatsoever, really.
Yeah, Jim talked, I think, was it last week, he talked about a bit more pace up front. And if you've got pace up front, then the pass has got to be right from that pass. Was just hit, hopefully, rather than picking it down the side of the centre half, or at least give him a chance to run onto.
Yeah, and you asked earlier, psychologically, how do you deal with that as a defender, dealing with Hugh? But more importantly, psychologically, that's worse when you're defending the whole game and you get balls going up front that are not getting held up, and you don't look like causing problems, and you kind of wonder how you're going to find your way back into that game.
Bang on the half-hour mark. Celtic leading by 2-0 here on Sportsound and BBC Radio Scotland, on Extra 8 on medium wave and on digital. If it's the fans you want to hear from, that's on FM and on Sounds and the BBC Scotland YouTube channel. For the fans, it's going to be a goal kick here for Celtic, with Sinisalo short to his left for Trusty, and now with Oxlade-Chamberlain in the midfield. Fires it forward because it's straight to Vichko-Chevy. United have to believe they can get the next goal, and Adjie's found Rose. They're in the Celtic box here. Opportunity for Randall, left side of the penalty area, tries to drive it across. He's going to have to set up at the corner of Donovan, which will be taken down on this near side. That was better from Dundee United, and if they can get the next goal, it could be a completely different complexion.
Absolutely, 2-0's often the most dangerous score, but as I say, Dundee United haven't done much wrong. They've defended well, they're in the game, and Celtic have been clinical, but no, as you say, if they can get a goal before half-time, it completely changes the game. But just a little bit better on the ball and a little bit more quality, and they could really cause a problem.
Short corner to Chubataru, and back it comes to Rollins, back in there. It's a fabulous cross in by Randall there, zipped in from the left-hand side towards the back post, but it sails out over the opposite side by the corner flag for a Celtic throw-in.
Yeah, he just came around the back. I think Celtic were sleeping. They lost him, and he should have had a touch on that ball, because you know it was a great corner right away to the back post with a bit of pace. All he do is just get a touch on it, and Celtic were in trouble.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity, and it's not even the 2 best of the game. They've already hit the post twice, which is incredible to think that had those been 6 inches other way, this could have been a 2-2 draw. So no, it's been an interesting game, because United definitely in it, but just not as clinical in front of goal, and Celtic the complete opposite.
It's just so punishing, isn't it? The ruthlessness of Celtic, we know that, we've seen it, it's woven through their history. You don't take your opportunities against them, they will get you, and they have done. United though with a throw in high up the pitch here, it's bowled into the box. Scales wins the initial header, it's to Eskison at the edge of the Celtic box, back to Chevy. Oh, that's a chance that Rollins was taken there, and Duran was almost onto it one-on-one with the keeper. Instead United have it, wide the right, Sapsford away from Scales, into the box. His pullback is going to come off. Scales will go behind for the corner, but it could have been so much better for the Tangerines there. In fact, flag's gone up. Celtic free kick.
It's offside, I think.
Yeah, Celtic free kick.
It's great.
3 of them offside, actually.
it ends up being great defending. I don't think I would like to see that too often, waiting 3v1 in Celtic's favour, but no, the defender is great, gets it wide to Sapsford, and again, another chance offside, but still causing problems, and if they can just find that little bit of clinical finishing, they could cause some problems for Celtic.
Long ball, Sinisalo, who wins the header, sliding in New Green, can't retain it though, it's Randall, and then out to this left-hand side, Jobitaru. Long ball down the left, cut out by Donovan. Bounced off Donovan's hand there, but the ref's going to bring it back for something. Yeah, it will be a United free kick for handball eventually. And this is just inside the Celtic half, I think, although Chevy's taken it from inside his own. And rolls it back there to Forbes. 34 on the clock, 2-0 to Celtic. Eskison on the turn, slides it forward to Adjei. And out to the far side. He couldn't keep it in play, it was Sapsford, and Celtic have it back with Tannadice, forward to Hu. Fires it back to McGregor, who's had it nicked off by Adjei. Excellent from the United midfielder. Out to the left here for Jesse Randall. Can attack the Celtic box. Randall on his left side shoots. Blocked brilliantly by Donovan. Carter Vickers plays it back off Donovan, who was on the floor, and behind for a Dundee United corner. Yeah, it's been better from Dundee United. They've got a little bit more tempo in the game. They're moving the ball about. It was a great tackle in the midfield there, and they get up the pitch, and as I say, causing problems. It's not been all one-way traffic today, and Dundee United have had their chances, and just unfortunately they haven't managed to capitalise on any of them. Dundee United corner then, and an in-swinger it will be from Randall. Into the box it comes to again, it's towards the back post. Sapsford head it back across the 6-yard area. Chevy nods it towards goal, can't find Rose, and Celtic clear. Adjei picks up the scraps over on that far side. Out to Sapsford, up against Scales. Sapsford and Randall have swapped wings, but it's given away by Sapsford, though there's a slip by Tannadice. Sapsford fires it into the box, headed away by Trusty. The United fans appealing over on that far side for something. Are they thinking there's a handball in the box here? Sapsford smashed it into the area. I think they must feel that there's a Celtic hands touch this, and there is a delay for a check here. Stephen McLean has halted proceedings.
It was fired in, and it did take a nick off somebody, but
it come off the shoulder.
Yeah,
I mean, it come off the shoulder. I think the rule is up to the sleeve, so it certainly looked high on that. But no, there is a definite move towards the ball. But
yeah, the VAR officials are happy with it. Jamal Foxley-Chamberlain. It's a throw in for United only into the box. Adjei back out wide right. Sapsford wins another corner. Good response by Jim Goodwin's team to going 2-0 down. 36 on the clock.
They're putting a little bit of pressure on it, and I think the only thing they could maybe ask for is a bit more quality from Sapsford on that wide right for them. He's had a couple of opportunities to try and get the ball in the box, and he's just not quite managed to beat that man. But no, great response, and they're on the front foot, and they're causing pressure. But as we've touched on, when you're getting against Celtic and you're getting this pressure, you need to make it count. In comes the corner then. As soon as Salo comes, punches it away. As Duran gets there ahead of Sapsford and drives away from his own penalty area. Adjei slides in. It is a foul. Celtic free kick midway inside their own half. So when you look at that again, Pat, to say Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's got away with one there. Yes, it's come off the shoulder, but his movement towards the ball with his arm, he's fortunate that that's the part of his arm it's come off of.
Yeah, very fortunate. He didn't have to do that because he's not good in the air anyway, but he's a small guy, so he didn't have to really go for their own thing because he was never going to get it. Yeah, he got away with it, I think, looking at that.
Yeah, an inch or two further down the sleeve there, and it could have been a United penalty. Here comes Celtic though. Scales on the left, gets the cross in. Who's waiting? Header is important there, away for United by Forbes. Breaks to Eskison on the far side, fires it forward with the right foot. Down goes Rose, no foul. Carter Vickers it was with the challenge, as Donovan rolls it to his left for Trusty. 37.5 on the clock. United 0, Celtic 2. United are at least competing in the match, despite the scoreline. They are competing, and they're not far away. They're moving the ball well, and they're getting in good areas, and they've hit the post twice, and they've missed a kind of 6 signs away from the back stick of causing real problems. So no, they're in this game, and it'd be an interesting changing route win if you were a Dundee United player, and see what Jim Goodwin's going to say to them, because ultimately they're 2-0 down, but they've not done too much wrong, and there's not too much that they can really do different. Trusty, who scored the first with a header. Camilo Duran got the second a couple of minutes later. As Trusty finds Carter Vickers. Back it goes to Trusty. Pings the long ball with the left foot, looking for Tannadice, and behind it's an important block there by Rollins. He does well to then find Chevy in the midfield, and then Adjei slips as he tries to feed it forward to Rose. McGregor's there, and he pops it back to his keeper.
That was a real chance for Dundee United to hit Celtic on the counter-attack. Savea getting the ball in the middle of the pitch. I thought he could have controlled it, taken his time. He tried a ball into Adjei, who kind of was off balance, and Celtic got the ball back, and now they're on the counter-attack themselves.
High up the pitch, Tannadice pulls it back. Back to Benjamin Newgrain, who shoots, and it's blocked on the 6-yard line. That looked like it was arching for that far left corner to put Celtic into a 3-0 and probably unassailable lead. It stays at 2.
Yeah, good chance. I think it was Savea that got himself into a defensive position there to get the block in, and that's the problem when you're sitting in midfield and you have to defend. Nygren, every single time he bombs into the box.
Duran in the box. That's a foul there by Duran on Forbes as he desperately tried to get back onto it there. And Dundee United twice winners of this tournament, but not since 1980-81. They won it back-to-back. They beat Aberdeen in the 79-80 final after a replay over the road at Dens, where they would beat their neighbours a year later. A 3-0 win. Pettigrew scored twice, Sturrock with the other against Aberdeen. A huge crowd at Dens. It was actually a bigger crowd at Dens for the replay than there was at Hampden for the initial game. And then they won it again, as I said, Davy Dodds in a double from Sturrock a year later. Celtic have won it 22 times as Tannadice hits a snapshot from the edge of the box. It comes right through to Walton. And it will stay United 0, Celtic 2, and in the final 5 minutes of the opening 45.
Yeah, listen, we talked about Dundee United.
It's a handball, sorry Pat. Rollins got Bolton by the keeper, and he's used an arm to control it, and Celtic have a free kick over there.
Yeah, but being 2-0 down, not doing a lot wrong, but the first goal will be the disappointing one for them. You know, you lose from a set piece. Somebody at near post has got to defend that space. I know defender got blocked off a little bit, but that ball, early ball in there, you've got to defend. The first man's got to defend that space so much better for them.
Celtic free kick then. It's midway inside United territory, a yard or two away from the touchline on the George Fox stand side. Newgrain with it. It's a good delivery into the 6-yard box, and Walton holds on for dear life with Trusty and Scales looking to get anything on it to force it home. It stays 2-0 to Celtic.
I tell you what, when you're a goalkeeper there and that ball's coming flying in from front, you're just hoping that it goes into your arms. I thought he could have came and punched it and taken the heat off his defenders, but he was so lucky that it just bounced into his arms from about 4 or 5 yards out.
Celtic were obviously, as Duran fouls his man on this near side, Mark, they were obviously shorn of the pace and the buzz-bomb work of Daisen Maida in the summer, but Camilo Duran looks like he's going to offer that kind of option for them as well.
He does. He's been very lively. He's been great defensively as well as offensively. He's causing real problems with the ball, but when he's off it, he's forced them at 2 or 3 turnovers and forced the left back for United into a few passes into the middle, which they've managed to pick up on. But no, real energy, and I think not only real energy, but it looks like real quality as well.
It's gone under the foot of Rollins on the far side, and out for the Celtic throw in a fairly inauspicious couple of minutes for Josh Rollins, the United right back. Trusty goes back to his keeper, Sinisalo to Carter Vickers. And then to Sinisalo, rolls it to Carter Vickers again at the edge of his box.
Yeah, Rose has got a real tough job up there, hasn't he? You know, he's running around in between the goalkeeper and two centre halves trying to close him down. Not easy. He needs a bit of help, I think.
Yeah, and it's kind of too early for Jim Goodwin to hit the panic button, isn't it? Even though they're 2-0 down, they'll want to just stay in the game. If they can find a goal, they could potentially find a way back into this cup tie. Yeah,
I think easier for Jim Goodwin if they were really struggling and it was obvious what was going wrong and something needed fixed, but ultimately there isn't too much that United are doing wrong. As Pat said, that they didn't defend the first goal well, and that's something they can look at, but it's not going to help them tonight. But it's it'd be interesting to see what he comes out with after half-time, and see if he does make big changes, or if he identifies an area where he thinks he can get success.
Celtic on the ball with Carter Vickers, and he touches it out to Camilo Duran on the near side. Chip ball with the left foot, looking for Newgrain, diving headed away by Forbes. And Duran, again, good work right to win it back ahead of Adjei. Sweeps it back to Trusty, who finds McGregor, who goes back to Sinisalo. It is Dundee United 0, Celtic 2. 2 of the 45 left, and as it stands there will be 1 minute added on top of that. Sinisalo short to his left for Trusty, who pushes it forward to Tannadice, but he can't find him. Now United have it with Sapsford wide in the right. Scales for company now though. Sapsford level with the Celtic penalty spot, looking to pop it through for Eskison, and it evades him, and it's clear by Oxlade Chamberlain. How Jim Goodwin would love a goal back before the break, but Casper, who's threatening to put Celtic further ahead here, wins it back on the far side touchline, drives in field, squares it here, right side of the box. Camilo Duran controls with the undersole, crosses in, who at the back post, over the crossbar, and it stays United 0, Celtic 2, but they were almost in for number 3.
Well, it was great play by who initially, just a ball down the channel. It looked as if he wasn't going to get it, but he just stayed at it and won the ball, and then suddenly a good pass out to his right hand side for Duran, but you could see him almost desperate to get that cross, and he did get it, but just got over the top of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, what defenders are going to have to deal with here is a guy who scored in the Champions League against Inter Atletico Sporting in Manchester City last season. That's a proper striker Celtic have signed here, one with real pedigree and fabulous time in that terrific Bora Glimt side. And Chevy picks up on this near side and knocks it forward here as Randall plays it back to Chevy, and then forward into the Celtic half for Adje. Oxlade Chamberlain all over him, but he's found Randall, knocks it forward, looking to try and get Chobitaru involved, but it's won back there by Donovan. He finds McGregor to Carter Vickers, and to Donovan, who clears his lines up towards the halfway line, and it breaks kindly for Rollins, who moves it back to Jack Walton. We can forgiven United as we go into that solitary minute of stoppage time. Forgive United for perhaps going into their shells when that second goal went in, but they've put up some fight here to try and keep their League Cup dream alive. As it stands though, Celtic will be going through to the quarters to join Kilmarnock, Ross County and Aberdeen. They've all made it through so far. County left it late to beat Dunfermline at East End Park. It's been a decent start to the season for County. Went down to League One last term. Aberdeen, 2 from Kevin Nisbet helping them on their way. Michi Ntello on his debut scored the other. Here come United looking for something back before the break. Chip ball into the box to the back post, goes behind for the goal kick from Randall, and he is furious that nobody's gotten the end of that one. It stays United 0, Celtic 2.
It's a great bit of play from Dundee United. They move the ball out well, and then Randall gets in behind the full-back. He manages to check back, and he just hangs the ball up there that's begging for somebody just to drive in and make contact with it, and the front three from United just stand and watch it float out for a by kick.
Do you not think, Mark, that he could have had a shot at goal himself? He's cut in, back in on his right foot, and knows, and that just take it on, take a chance, take a risk.
Half-time arrives at Tannadice. Goals from Trusty and Duran of Celtic in a commanding position here in this League Cup last 16 tie. United hit the post twice earlier through Eskison and Adje. It was the same post as well, the goalkeeper's right, the left as they were looking at it at the shed end. Neither went in though, and Celtic have made them pay a heavy price. Trusty's header, Duran's finish, and at half-time at Tannadice it's Dundee United 0, Celtic 2.
Dundee United versus Celtic.
The Scottish League Cup, live on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland.
This Saturday show is filled with very interesting people every Saturday morning.
Journalists, comedians and special guests in the studio to dissect the week's news. Very interesting.
Athletes and sports pundits to preview the weekend's sporting fixtures. Well, they sound interesting.
And of course you, the real VIPs, listening as you go about your Saturday morning and sending us in some very interesting messages.
I thought you meant like me, like I was interesting.
You're a different kind of interesting though, Stephen. You're more like of international interest in medical science kind of interesting.
Oh, thanks very much, Amy. Thanks.
The Saturday Show with Amy Irons and Stephen Mill. Next Saturday at 9 a.m. on BBC Radio Scotland and Sounds.
You're listening to BBC Radio Scotland Sports Sound live at Tannadice with Liam McLeod, Pat Bonner and Mark Reynolds, with Celtic leading Dundee United by 2-0 at the interval here on Extra, 810 medium wave and on digital. There's a different option for you if you want it over on BBC Radio Scotland FM and on Sounds. where the fans are joining Kenny and the guys on the other frequency and on the BBC Sports Scotland YouTube channel, and that continues until 7 o'clock. But here it's the action, the football all the way, the League Cup second round, and Celtic are certainly bossing the scoreline. If not in the match, Dundee United have put plenty into this one. The United fans who have turned up here tonight, who are watching on, listening on elsewhere, will be bitterly disappointed at the nature of the scoreline right now. As I said, Pat and Mark are with me. Some half-time thoughts. Pat, we'll start with you. Celtic leading 2-0. It's gone exactly as Martin O'Neill would have wanted.
Yeah, he'd be delighted that he got those 2 goals. It gives them a cushion. They can relax and get on with their game. When it's 0-0, you're maybe dominating possession, but if you haven't got that vital goal, then you're under that bit of pressure. Dundee United will be playing down the hill in the second half, which I think they like, Mark. I think you said that before. That's their favourite way to play. So they will be up for it in the second half. And Dundee United haven't done a lot wrong, but Celtic have been clinical in the box. And the first goal, set piece, of course, I'll be delighted with that, because set piece is one the Celtic over the years probably haven't maybe capitalised a lot on. So that's a good start to the season for them, getting the goal early on. But the second goal then, it was just really about the strength of Casper, who inside the box, good penetrating run, and getting that ball into an area where he's always going to be in that 6-yard box.
Mark, you have been involved in games against Celtic, playing for Motherwell, for Aberdeen, for United possibly as well, where you're playing a Celtic side, you've had your opportunities, you haven't taken them, and you find yourselves in a real hole.
No, absolutely. It's not what you want to be doing, and you touched on it both in commentary, that the hitting the post twice is not ideal. Again, you don't get many chances against Celtic, so to get 2 and not capitalise on them, you can be in for a long night. But it's the biggest thing for me is that I was here with you guys commentating the game last season, and that was
the one in March,
and that was a Celtic team that kind of, for me, for a lot of the season, was very much, when these games were in the balance and there wasn't much between it, the game could go either way. I feel as though this Celtic team's like one of old, where it's when the game's in the balance, Celtic will find something, they'll get that little bit of quality, and they will cause problems, and they've done it twice already. So no, it's horrible to play against, and there are ways to stop it, but when they get that that flow going, and they've got the quality, and as I touched on it in the early part of the game, every time they get the ball, they're looking to go forward, they're moving the ball sharp, they're always threatening in behind, and they're not forcing balls, they're not being slack in possession, they're moving it with a purpose and a possession, and it's been really good to watch. And unfortunately, Dundee United have kind of done all they can, and as I said earlier, I'd be interested to hear what Jim Goodwin's telling his players, because they haven't done much wrong. They've hit the post twice, they've stuck to their kind of defensively, they've done well, they've had a good shape, but they're 2 goals down.
Yeah, Celtic will always take that risk playing out of the back, and that's where Dundee United capitalised on early on in this game, where the chances came from. And it's not spot on for Celtic. That gives the opposition that opportunity, and that's where the two chances came from. I think, intercepting goals into the other one. Adji, I think it was put a tackle into McGregor, and he did really, really well. He's strong. He looks a strong boy in the middle of the pitch. Dundee United, that's what they've done. But I think defensively too, they've done okay in the game. I know they've lost 2 goals, but overall the space wasn't. They've worked really well, that defensive duo at the back. One even across coming into the box, they've defended them quite well. So all in all, they'll be very, very disappointed, but Celtic will be delighted.
Wins earlier today in the last 16 of the League Cup, it's known these days, second round, if you want to be a traditionalist. Aberdeen 3, Dundee 0. All the goals coming in the second half. A double for Kevin Nisbet in 51 and 63. Debutant Michy Ntello scored on 57 in between those 2 Nisbet goals. Nisbet up to 8 this season, albeit 7 of them have come in the League Cup, but all count. So Aberdeen through, and a bit of revenge on Dundee after what went on across the road from where we are right now a week ago in the league. And Dunfermline 1, Ross County 2. Lindsay opening the scoring for County. Oyerworth equalised for Dunfermline with 13 to play, but Chin with the goal 4 minutes from the end of the 90 meant it finished Dunfermline 1, Ross County 2, and that all coming after last night's encounter in Ayrshire. And what a game it was, as Kilmarnock edged out neighbours Ayr United with the odd goal in 5, having twice trailed in the match. Nicky Koshenko with the winner, just as it looked as though it was going to be heading to extra time. So those are the teams through. Celtic, as it stands, will be going through. United have 45 minutes to try and sort that out, and we've got more League Cup action to come for you tomorrow. 3 games kicking off at 2 of them in Edinburgh. Hibernian against Partick Thistle, Hearts against Cali Thistle, and Stenhousemuir will be taking on Motherwell at Ochilview. And then at 4 o'clock it is Rangers against St Mirren, and that will be followed by the draw for the quarter-finals. No seeds involved in that, so an open draw to see who will be meeting who in the last 8. It takes place in the weekend, an earlier weekend than in fact a lot of the time has been midweek, and I think that will be happening round about the 12th of September weekend. The quarter-finals for this tournament will be taking place. Before all that, big European action, of course, to come here on Sports Sound during the week. Starting on Wednesday night, the Celtic take on Lask Linz of Austria in the first leg of their playoff round in the Champions League, or for the Champions League. It was the round they failed miserably in a year ago against Kairat Almaty. So looking to try and ensure that that doesn't happen again, because that's what it's all about. Celtic want to win trophies. They want to win a domestic treble every single season, but they want Champions League football to go along with that, and they will get a stab at that starting against Lask on Wednesday. They return the following Tuesday in Austria, and on Thursday it's all about the Conference League. Could have 4 teams in the Conference League, which would be quite remarkable. Motherwell have a tough one though against the runners-up in the Europa League last season. Freiburg, the German side, were beaten by John McGinn's Aston Villa in that final in Istanbul last season. Ghent will host Hibernian. Hibs are the only Scottish side away from home in the first leg, so they've got the advantage of being at home in the second. Those two kick off at 7:30. 7:45 kickoffs, Hearts Rapid Vienna, and Rangers at home to the Czech side Jablonec. So those are 2 7:45 kickoffs, but I think Pat's had just about enough time to polish off his half-time snack. See how I dragged all that out there. I'm promoting just about everything that we are covering in the next week to ensure that you were able to consume your half-time snack, which I have in front of me. I'm not going to have time to have mine though.
Well, let me talk now for a while, and Mark.
Go on in.
No, just looking back at the goals there actually, and Dundee United be really, really disappointed. The first goal, actually, you know, he didn't burst in there into that near post area. He kind of almost jogged across. Yes, Esselink was blocked off, but Dundee United has got to have players in that space. They had one player in, and even he wasn't in front of his man, and the space was so easy to exploit. And all then Trusty had to do was just get a touch on the ball towards the goal, and anything can happen, and that's what happened in back of the net. In the second goal, I think it was Chamberlain, Oxlade Chamberlain, that ran off the back of Savage in the middle of the pitch, and got into a very, very dangerous area to play that ball across the 6-yard box. So poor defending from Dundee United, Mark.
Yeah, they'll be disappointed with that. As you say, 2 goals. I think for the first goal with the ball coming in the box, I think as much as I lamented last season about how Dundee United were defending the box so well, they were almost just waiting for someone else to clear the line for them. I didn't see it, but it looked for me, certainly from the game, that they didn't actually have empty. Usually you see a defender will stand and he'll kind of mark that 6-yard area for any of those flatter balls coming in, and I don't know if he wasn't there or he was slightly deeper, but you need that to be the first contact, especially if you're putting a low flat ball in. As you say, it didn't come on with great pace, it had enough pace, but it caused problems, and if you're not going to get that first contact, then you certainly need to be causing more problems in the air, because he gets a full chance to flick it across and the block comes in. And as you say, for the second one as well, it was one of those passes that cut through, and Celtic have caused real problems with those balls through. They put a few over the top to make Dundee United think about what they're doing. They're pulling their full-backs wide, and Hughes causing real problems between the two centre-backs, and he's occupying them both. And the midfield, at the time, as you touched on, it was Oxlade-Chamberlain that makes the breakthrough, and he capitalises on that space that's left because Hughes pulling the
But as a
other
midfielder, you've got to be marking him. You can't let him drift off your shoulder, off your back.
Absolutely, especially when your two centre-backs are so preoccupied with the striker. You can't expect one of them to step out, because as soon as he starts trying to pick up runners, you leave yourself one-on-one with Hugh, and we've all seen what happens when you leave him man for man.
Is that communication or just poor anticipation by the player himself?
I don't think it's poor communication, because I think in those situations you need to just react. It needs to be something that's done in training, and it needs to be a principle of defending, because when those things are happening so quickly, by the time you've told your left centre back to leave and go and press the ball and your other man to run, it's already happened and the ball's the back of the net. So Dundee United just need to be that little bit quicker and really understand where the danger is. But as we touched on, they'll be watching film, they'll know how dangerous Hugh is, they'll be worried about him scoring goals, and the two centre backs will making sure between them he doesn't score. And when you're doing that, you leave kind of overloads elsewhere.
Well done, guys. Round of applause.
And Lee just finished his snack.
Just finished so yummy. Brilliant sausage roll, that. It was fabulous. That's going to keep me going for the rest of the night. Sports Sound here, BBC Radio Scotland, 810 medium wave on Extra and on digital. We've got the second half of Dundee United 0, Celtic 2 in the League Cup. Up and coming here at Tannadice, as we look to see if United can potentially get themselves back into this cup tie and prolong their League Cup campaign, which resulted in eventually them getting themselves through. They had that shock defeat at Lynx Park against Montrose, which is one of them, well, is the main reason that they weren't in the mix for a seeding position in the draw for this stage. And you're always taking the risk that you will come against one of the big guns. United, of course, have a big gun in Scottish football, but we saw this with David Gray and Hibs a couple of years ago, and they drew Celtic in the League Cup after losing, surprisingly, to Kelty Hearts in the group stage of the tournament. You always run the risk. You're going to run into Celtic anytime. You'd probably rather... It's an interesting one. Would you rather play them at home earlier in the tournament or take your chances against them at Hampden, Mark? That's a debate that's out there. I hear quite a lot.
I'd rather somebody else knock them out for me.
Of course.
Good answer.
At one point, Packy, will Martin O'Neill start thinking about Lask on Wednesday, because that is massive for that football club.
Yeah, very much so. And, you know, yeah, he'll be thinking that. But I think he wants to get rhythm in the team also and keep it going with the confidence high at the moment. And, you know, that's obviously what the result against Kilmarnock did for them. They've carried on to a point, not maybe as sharp as they were against Kilmarnock, but certainly they've got their goals, so that's a big confidence booster. So I don't think he wants to change too much. Injury is always an issue. We've seen the issue with Alistair Johnson. And he was such a critical player for them. I think if he was in the team, that's nothing against young Kobe Donovan, who's done well today, actually, stuck to his task. But if Alistair Johnson was in, that team looks a strong team now. You know, and you know, the bench is strong also, and they've got a new guys that come in also. So he doesn't want to take risk with injury, but he doesn't want to upset the confidence. But
I think the thing he's got going for him is that you're bringing players into a team that's on the up, a team that's playing with confidence, and a team that's winning. It's always harder if you're trying to make those changes. If this game had been 0-0 and United are on top and they're causing problems, and you're having to change guys to come in and win, puts that little bit of pressure on. So no, they've got themselves in a good position, but it's 2-0. United are playing down the hill, know that if they get the next goal, it changes the complexion of the game, and it's game on. So no, it's cup football, there's nothing to lose. United need to go out and get it, and as I say, interesting to see what Jim Goodman has told the team, if he's made any changes or if it's very much stick to what we've done and let's just be a little bit better where we're shooting and we could cause problems.
Looks like he's going with the same 11. Everyone's back out, just about ready to go, Jim Goodwin included, down at the edge of his technical area, ready to set his watch when Stephen McLean blows the first whistle, which he does, of this second half. United left to right in the tangerine and black, albeit a false start there for whatever reason. Maybe one of the United players stepped across the halfway line. Anyway, it's up and running now as it's laid back the way to Forbes, who smashes it high and out for a Celtic throw-in on this near side. Walton in goal for the hosts, who are 2-0 down Rollins, Esselink, Forbes, and Chubutaru at the back. Ajay, Eskison, Chevy, Randall, Rose, Sapsford. Celtic with Sinisalo in goal. Donovan, Carter, Vickers, Trusty, Scales, Newgrain, McGregor, Oxlade, Chamberlain, Duran, Tinecti, Hu. As McGregor challenges with Ajay in the midfield. It's Broken United's way with Sapsford. McGregor trying to win it back and helped to do so by Oxlade, Chamberlain, but United win it back quickly. Eskison in field to Ajay, edge of the box, Chevy. He gets a touch on it. Hu back defending well though. Came back, put him off, and comes back off Chevy, and ricochets behind for the goal kick.
That's really good team play from Hu. He leaves his centre forward position to run almost back to the edge of the box to get an interception on that ball. So he's playing for the team also.
I mean, he's ticking every box you want from a striker. Clinical in front of goal, a real presence up front, and happy to drop in and do the dirty work for the team as well. And I think if he continues this, he'll be a fan's favourite in no time.
If he isn't already. This is the first League Cup meeting between these two since they met in the final in 2015. Celtic ran out comfortable 2-0 winners thanks to goals in each half from Commons and Forrest. United had captain Sean Dillon sent off when they were 1-0 down. And their last win over Celtic in the League Cup was in the quarters in 1988 when Ian Redford and Kevin Gallagher scored the goals in a 2-0 win. As Chevy plants the ball right side of the box, pulled across there by Randall but headed away, and connected as well. Shields it, turns, drives forward across the halfway line. United had committed numbers forward. Tinecti goes forward. He's now level with the 18-yard line. Level with the penalty spot, skips in field, back outfield, left-footed cross comes in, too much on it. And Duran will get onto it over on the far side. He looks to try and get it back into the mixer here. Short ball in field to Newgrain, back out it goes to Duran. Newgrain, Duran, back down the line for McGregor over on the far side. Celtic shooting towards the shed and the green and white hoops in the second half. Out it comes to Benjamin Newgrain over on the far side. He's already managed a couple of goals. Celtic's top scorer from last season. Scored in their two league openers against Dundee and Kilmarnock. As Carter Vickers rolls it back to Sinisalo inside his own box. Short ball with the right foot to Trusty to his left. And then out to Scales in the touchline. Up the line for Tinecti. One back well though, a combination of Rollins and Randall into the midfield for Ajay. McGregor's going to get there, as he know. Sliding in Sapsford now. Ajay drives forward. Left-footed ball, wide left. Chance for United potentially here. Level with the 6-yard line. It's not back to Sapsford. He's gone for goal and it clips the bar. It's the third time they put the woodwork in this cup tie. It goes bouncing over to safety for a goal kick and stays 2-0 Celtic.
I thought the keeper got a hand
Yeah,
to that.
I thought so. Myself will see it here on the replay. No, he didn't actually. He was taken by a little bit by surprise. It was a really good strike from a fairly acute angle. It comes smashing off the crossbar.
It's a great hit by Sapsford.
It's great play with Dundee United. I think that they've come out in the front foot. They certainly look like a team that's got nothing to lose, and they're moving the ball about well, and they're causing problems. I think earlier on it was Chevy put that ball in behind Scales, and Randall was unfortunate. He got to it and just couldn't get a ball in the box to ask a question of the Celtic defence. But no, Dundee United doing everything they can to try and get themselves back into this game, and I think the only thing potentially is that they open themselves up to that counter-attack, but they're going to need to live dangerously and commit bodies forward to try and score.
Mark Reynolds and Pat Bonner with me here at Tannadice. United strike the goal frame for a third time in the match, and Jim Goodwin's down there shaking his head.
Yeah, listen, there's fine margins, isn't it? But it's such an important start to the game for Dundee, and it gives them confidence, and you know, they need to get a goal back early. You know, the next goal, whoever gets it, is going to change this game.
Scored 3 in the groups that Sapsford scored against Celtic here last December in that 2-1 victory. Couldn't find the net there as Oxlade Chamberlain rolls it back to his keeper. Not that much out, would have probably liked a little bit more on that pass, but gets to its intended target. The Scales gets it from Trusty, goes back to his keeper. And Sinisalo gets it away. And as far as Chevy wins the header, he's fouled by Newgrain. He's not really complaining, just tells its own story. And United have a free kick midway inside Celtic territory. Good start the second half here by Goodwin's men.
It is. They've just injected a little bit more pace into what they're doing and a little bit more purposeful, but no, they're causing problems. They were good in the first half as well, and unfortunate to be 2 goals down. As you say, it's not often you play Celtic and hit the woodwork 3 times.
Yeah, he's taking a drink from his water bottle now, the United manager. Martin O'Neill is in his technical area just now, as that's played by Eskison to the right from that free kick into the box. Rose will give chase, right side of it, fires it across and then bounces off a combination of Trusty and Sinisalo, and behind for a United corner down on this near side in front of the tunnel.
Could have went anywhere. It was good play by Rose. I thought he was going to just check on it and come back out, but he took on the shot, and I think it ricocheted off Scales and then somebody else, and it hit the goalkeeper and went wide.
Taken short, and it comes from Randall. It's a good header by Carter Vickers, so decisive. Back out to this near side. Randall finds Eskison, skips away from McGregor, level the 18-yard line, out to the touchline for Randall, who will roll it back with the right foot to Eskison. He does likewise. Square ball chipped into the area by Rollins, out to the back post area. Sapsford can't keep it in play though, and it goes behind for a goal kick to Celtic, who continue to lead this cup tie by 2 goals to 0. We play 51 and a half.
Dundee United in the front foot, they're causing problems, they're asking questions, just missing that final touch or that clinical kind of finish, and can't do much more. They're asking all the right questions of Celtic, and Celtic quite happy just to absorb a lot of pressure and now opting to go slightly longer and try and beat that press from United.
Long ball from Sinisalo, great control by Tadan, but he's overhit the pass back to Nugren, and now it's come all the way through to Sapsford. He's at the edge of the Celtic box. Rose to Sapsford, still inside the area, comes off Carter Vickers and goes out for a throw-in for United down by the corner flag. On this near side, Jim Goodwin, you can see him cajoling his players down there, looking for a little bit more that could get them back into this. Ball back to Eskison, right side of the box, poor ball in, bounces off the chest of Oxlade-Chamberlain, and back to Eskison. Now it's Rollins, right side, chance to cross here for Randall in the penalty area, pulls it back, breaks Sapsford's way, he shoots, blocked by Donovan. His hands behind his back, fired back in by Rollins, and then it bounces after a bit of pinball back for Viliami Sinisalo, and it will stay United 0, Celtic 2. Sapsford though in a fabulous position, again left side of the box.
I think Jim Goodwin now asking what his team needs to do to score a goal. It was a great play again, and it drops to Satford, and it's a great shot, and he blocks, and then here comes Celtic on the counter.
This is what they do. Nugren left side of the box for Tannadice, onto his right side, shoots and scores! So typical Celtic! Classic Celtic, just when United thought they might be able to get a foothold back into this. Celtic might have put the tie to bed. Sebastian Tannadice into the area, onto his right, into the bottom left, at the shed end, as he conducts the Celtic supporters. They're all burnt through to the quarters. Dundee United 0, Celtic 3.
Yeah, he just shifts it onto his right foot, and I think he catches the goalkeeper on the move just as he strikes it. Yeah, the defender pushes him on the inside. I would push him down the outside, to be honest. He just comes in the inside. The goalkeeper's slightly on the move as he strikes it, and then he couldn't deal with the near post. But it all starts from Silly building from the back, taking risk, and that ball into the big striker again, who does it fantastically well. Comes short, lays it off into the path of a support player, and then Tannadice was on. You could just see him there, his balance was off, wasn't it, just as he struck the ball.
Yeah, it's a great finish. I feel sorry for United. They've come out in the front foot, they've asked all the questions they can, they've applied the pressure, they've increased the tempo, they've hit the bar, they've been forced to keep in a couple of saves, and Celtic get their foot in the ball, and in 2 passes are up the pitch, and Tannadice checks inside and makes it 3-0 and pretty much puts the game beyond them.
United have a corner up the other end, but Sebastian Tannadice has surely ended this tie as a contest. You would think, as he knocked that one home. It's his
That's incredible.
First Celtic goal since the 3-2 come from behind victory against Kilmarnock.
I was just going to say, it's incredible. Jim Goodman must be thinking, wow, what a good start we've had again, and we lose another goal on the counter-attack.
In comes the corner, they've hit the bar again with a header. For the 4th time, Dundee United strike the woodwork. And it was a good header too. They're 3-0 down. Here goes Tannadice again on the counter, though Eskison gets there first and goes back to his keeper. It stays United 0, Celtic 3. It's quite remarkable that Dundee United have hit the crossbar twice and hit the post twice and are 3-0 down.
Yeah, and every time Celtic have hit them on the counter-attack and pretty much scored off the back, it's unbelievable. I think it's why we love football. It's some story, not if you're a Dundee United fan or certainly a Dundee United player or Jim Goodwin, but there is not much more they can do. They have
Esselink this time, yeah.
They have to commit bodies forward. They're getting shots on target and they're hitting the woodwork, and yeah.
And it was a great header. It was pace on it. Ball's just played into an area, 6-yard box. He out jumps everybody and gets a great header on it.
United denied again.
And you look at United here, 3 down, they're still on the front foot, they're pressing Celtic, they've forced them into a turnover, they've got the ball on the left-hand side just outside Celtic's box and doing everything right other than getting that goal.
Well, if they recover from this and go through, it's one of the greatest comebacks in Scottish domestic football. As it's rolled back here to Esselink with that header just a moment ago. Pings it out the far side, it's gone over the head though. There. Of Kubataru, and that will be a Celtic throw in midway inside their own half. They are 3-0 up. For Celtic, they'll be favourites for every competition they play in Scotland this season. They're able to ride their luck at times tonight, despite what the scoreline suggests. As that comes off, Eskison last, and behind for a goal kick to Celtic.
Yeah, I'm just looking at what Dundee United have done here. They've pushed the left back. When Celtic have goal kicks, and they've pushed him higher up the pitch. They've pushed everybody in, and they've gone to 3v3 at the back. But they've been done on the counter-attack.
Yeah, they went man for man. Something we spoke about before the game is, would you risk it? And they've nothing to lose, and they need to go and try and make something happen.
Throwing United on this near side, just in the Celtic half. It's rolled back there to Esselink, then into the centre circle for Eskison, to Adjei, back to Eskison. Rose ahead of him, Satchel to the right, he goes himself well wide with the right foot from outside the box, wide of the left hand side of the goal frame. And this is United 0, Celtic 3. 3 minutes shy of the hour here at Tannadice. And I just wonder, Packy, when Martin O'Neill has a look at a couple of his new signings who are on the bench, Mika Bauer and Hasim Hassan.
Yeah, he's got an opportunity now with 3-0. I think he'll wait another 10 minutes just to see how this game settles. The rhythm of this game settles, and he doesn't want to lose anything, that's for sure.
Chevy out wide right of the box here, Sapsford into the Celtic penalty area it comes. Nygren's there though, mops up back to his keeper, who launches it forward first time with the right foot. Bouncing ball is controlled by Bert Esselink. Well, Pat thought 10 minutes. I think we're going to be seeing Mika Bauer sooner than that, as Randall can't keep it in play on the far side. And it will go out for a throw into Celtic. I asked Mark Reynolds in the first half here how mentally challenging it would be for the United players having hit the post twice and gone 2-0 down. Now, having hit the crossbar twice and gone 3-0 down either side of that, how on earth can they possibly come off the floor from that? Anyway, debut for Bauer, live from Paderborn, and he replaces Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Yeah, he made just after you said it, Liam, I thought he might leave it a little bit more, but it'd be interesting, this young man, to see how he's going to fit into this midfield. Will he be a sitting player? Will he sit alongside McGregor, or will he be one that can get forward a bit like what maybe I think the man he replaced did, box to box?
So Bauer on for a debut. As United come forward here with Rose, laid back to Chevy, looks up at the goal and shoots over with the right foot. Felt it was worth a pop, and it will be a Celtic goal kick. They lead 3-0. But it's a first look at the German under-21 international. Bauer came through the ranks at Freiburg, who, as I mentioned, Motherwell will be playing in the Conference League qualifier and play-off on Thursday. Went to Paderborn in 2024 and a loan at Dynamo Dresden amongst that. And it's all been lower league football for him in Germany, in his homeland. As on this right side, United come forward again. The cross from Randall's blocked and cleared by Celtic, who lead 3-0. We've played an hour, and there's still 30 minutes for United to try and do something here. But this has been one of those strange matches, hasn't it, where we've seen Celtic roll over teams before. They're rolling over a team who're actually playing well against them. It's a good sign for O'Neill, that.
Yeah, it is a good sign, of course it is, but Dundee United, you know, they haven't done a huge amount wrong in the game. Find themselves 3-0 down, hit the crossbar twice, post, all these things. You're looking and you say, just isn't our day. Just isn't our day. And people will criticise because they've lost 3 goals again, they've lost 4 against Hearts, but I think Jim has got a team there that he as long as the confidence stays.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really threaten scoring last week. Bo Rouse, the Hearts goalkeeper, didn't have much to do with regards to making saves, but they plenty of the match despite losing 4-0. It's happening again here. Turan with the cross wins the corner. Does he know it's come off in last goal kick? They didn't hit the woodwork last week 4 times this evening, but it's a similar tale for Jim Goodwin, and he's going to have to try and find a way of making his team more ruthless.
Yeah, you don't want that mindset creeping in. You don't want a team that's getting beat 3 and 4 every week, and regardless of how good you're playing, you're arguably judged on your results, and you need to find a way to stop conceding and start scoring goals. And they're so close. I think that's the frustrating thing. There's maybe just a player or two or just a tweak missing that gets Dundee United going to that next level, but they'll be disappointed to go from a 4-0 and a 3-0 back-to-back. But as we touched on, it's 2 completely different performances. I only caught the highlights of the Hearts game, and I don't think there was a shot from United. There might have been one. Whereas they've been
one off the line in the match, but generally speaking, Bo Rouse, the Hearts keeper, didn't really have much to do.
Whereas in this game, they've very much been in it. Yeah. They've blocked the goalie, they've hit the woodwork, and just unfortunate that they've not managed to convert it. And here comes Celtic again.
Nygren goes for goal. What a finish from Benjamin Nygren! All these new arrivals, but it's their main man from last season and top scorer from last season who arches it home into the right corner. Past Walton, slides onto his knees, arms outstretched in front of the shed, which is clad in green and white. And suddenly it's Dundee United 0, Celtic 4.
He's at it again, isn't he? You know, he caught that one absolutely beautiful. He was given the space, lovely little touch from Bauer in the middle of the pitch, set him up, but just... he's so hungry for goals. You know, just give him the ball inside the box. He just opens up, takes 2 touches, and then just rifles it past the goalkeeper, who had no chance whatsoever.
It probably sums up Dundee United's game, that goal. They don't do too much wrong. Yeah, they lose possession, but they've got men behind the ball. They're locked on. They don't give him half a yard, and that's all he needs, just to guide that ball on the inside of the left-hand post. And yeah, Jim Goodwin needing to make changes now, probably to try and stop it getting any worse. They're in danger of this turning into a rout if it not already is, and they don't deserve it, because it's not been a game where they've been overrun or they've been outplayed. Celtic have been clinical. They've had that bit of quality that you would expect from Celtic, but Dundee United hugely disappointed to be 4-0 down.
Well, I mean, that's the problem. Celtic will keep going. Changes for United: Jesse Mitsoko, Daniel Benny in the new signing, another one of the new signings. Abdullah Yoro will come on. Off comes Rose. As Jim Goodwin makes the changes he was going to make them before the 4th one went in. He must be crestfallen down there. Of course, the League Cup and the Scottish Cup represent opportunities for clubs like United to get their hands on silverware. This one is going to be snuffed out, so they've only really got the Scottish Cup left. They can try and make an impact in the league, of course, but this Celtic team look like they're going to take some stopping this season.
And that's the danger of meeting Celtic so early in the Cup. You asked earlier if you'd rather meet them in the final or this early, and I think it is. You'd rather meet them in the final, because you can beat them in a one-off, and there'll be times when you put Celtic out of Cup and then you hit another team on form, or you hit a Rangers or somebody else who are expecting to win it. So you want to avoid them as long as possible, and you hope that if you do find them in the final, that it's a day like St Mirren caught them and they managed to just get that one over them and get over the line. So no, disappointed, but it's the Cup. They've run out there, they'll dust themselves down, and they can focus on the league now. And they look so close to just finding that right formula. That they've got new players that they're still bedding in. That there's been a huge turnover. You know, something like 13 players that have been in, and they're still finding a way to play. But this won't help. You don't want to be out there playing and conceding and losing 3 and 4 every week.
United have it over on the left with Benny, who, as I said, is just on. But this is a forlorn situation for them right now. As they come driving down the left, it's good challenging back there by Duran. He's more than happy to get his hands dirty, that's for sure. The ball across there by Chubutaru, who's cut out. Nygren can't control it, but it's ended up being chipped back by Benny to Sinisalo anyway. 4-0 Celtic. And there could be more to come, Pat, because there's still plenty of time for more to come. We've got 25 minutes still to play in this cup tie.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Bauer in the middle of the pitch. That's where I stood up, laying beside you, just to make sure you have a good look at him. He's a busy little player in the middle of the pitch. Not unlike Tati, moving around, finding space, getting on the ball, linking up. I just wonder how Tati and McCowan is feeling, actually, when you have a player like who's very similar in many ways, comes into the pitch, and then he gets his opportunity. He was involved in the goal. Lovely little kind of almost back flick to set up Nygren.
That's a fantastic goal. Some of the finishing from Celtic's been excellent this evening. As United come down the right with Randall, level the penalty spot, just shifting it in field for Yoro. He gets it back in the near side. Sapsford, Rose, Eskison all coming off just a moment ago. United made the changes. Yoro looking for Benny, left side of the box, and it's going to come right through to Sinisalo, who slides down onto it. Dundee United 0, Celtic 4, here on Sports Sound and BBC Radio Scotland, on 810 medium wave, on digital, and online at bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. The second round of the League Cup. There's a card coming here. Bauer was caught by Yoro. He's just on. He makes his debut. Picked up a yellow card within minutes of his maiden appearance in Tangerine. Nygren's going to come off, and he'll be replaced by McCowan. Trusty's coming off. He'll be replaced by Dane Murray. And we're also seeing James Forrest make his way onto the park. And the final change for Celtic is it Casper Who's coming off. Looks as though it might be
Osman.
I'm going to look, it's James Forrest. It's not Osman. Osman is on the bench, but it is Forrest, so they'll stick Duran through the middle. And those are the changes. 1-1 for Martin O'Neill. And Casper, who's not got a goal tonight, but he's been very important in that front row, and they obviously are going to want him fit and firing, Pat, for Wednesday night and the following Tuesday.
Yeah, I think it's sensible. Get him off, no injuries. Very important player now for Celtic going forward.
They postponed their league match next week, as the other European representatives have. Just the one game, and it is back here next Saturday. Sports Sound will have full coverage of the first Dundee derby of the season, as United welcome Dundee up the road, or down the road. Here's Dane Murray for Celtic on the near side. Out to this near flank for Tannadice, and infield to Bauer. Rolls it infield here for McCowan, and then back out to the left for Scales. Forward to Duran. Tannadice comes to help him, but it's still with Duran. And then back it comes to Bauer, who slips as he controls, but he still has it. And back into his own half for Murray. And back to Sinisalo. Final quarter of this cup tie. Celtic looking good for the quarters at 4-0 up. And this must be very difficult for the United players to try and negotiate these final 20-odd minutes.
Yeah, different player Duran through the middle than the Casper Who. He's not the big, strong centre forward, but what he has, he's got pace and he's got decent movement. So it'll be interesting to see how Celtic exploit that.
Throwing Celtic over on the right side, ball back to McCowan. The turn goes back to Carter Vickers. In field he goes to McCowan, former Dundee skipper, as he knocks it back to his keeper. Here's Murray driving forward up towards the halfway line. Celtic look for more goals. It's forward towards Duran. It's well defended there by Forbes. And it's going to be a free kick for a foul by Duran in the centre circle. And Dundee United tried to take it quickly, but the ref wasn't ready. Looks like it's going to be another Celtic debut in just a moment. Nassim Hassan, the Egypt international, will be on forthwith. United come forward, the ball in from the right to the edge of the box is mopped up by Murray. Comes off a United boot and out for a throw into Celtic on this near side. they will not sniff at a 4-0, at least a 4-0 victory at Tannadice. Will Martin O'Neill, Sean Maloney and co as Mehdi Mergem comes on for United down below us, Pat, will they? They're very happy with that.
Oh yeah, very, very happy. You know, that's, I think this is the big change. This is the big player.
Tannadice off.
But this is another.
Yeah, Hassan coming on.
Really interesting to see how he is. Has he got that quality that his fee would sort of,
well,
almost.
You saw he didn't make too much of an impact at the World Cup. It was primarily due to visa issues. But when he did, it was fairly spectacular, wasn't it, against Argentina, the eventual runners-up and then holders. And set up one of their goals spectacularly. 2-0 up, lost 3-2. And he arrives after a couple of years at Real Oviedo. Previously on the books at Villarreal, he had a loan at Sporting Gijón in amongst that. 6 times capped by Egypt. And another one of Celtic's headline summer signings with Hu, Duran and Bauer. And they're making an impact in the transfer window, which they weren't doing 12 months ago, and the price they paid was multiple millions of pounds, and the prestige of the Champions League.
But they haven't actually spent that much, because when you consider that they've brought in 22 million for Ingles, you know, when you balance it all out, you know, it's been good business, great business.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And you know, the list of players that they've actually sold on for money has been
22 million for Arne Engels is incredible business.
You know, they were offered, I believe, that from Nottingham Forest. I would have taken it at that point too. I know he's a few injuries and so on. He's young, but he hasn't quite maybe kicked on at Celtic the way that people thought he would be. But when you get that type of money, and he is only young, and he had fantastic delivery. That's the thing. Set pieces, he had a shot on him. You know, and he was a box-to-box player, and he's only going to get better because he's young.
I think it's a huge add for Celtic as well. Being able to bring players in of that quality and then go and sell them for so much more money. It shows Celtic, when they're out there recruiting, that they can go for that calibre of player, and they can sell that as the example.
Euro for United goes from distance, bounces off Carter Vickers and flies behind for the corner. With about 17 and a half minutes of the 90 to play.
When
Dundee United 0, Celtic 4.
Yeah, you look at all the players that they've got money for, it's quite incredible.
I think there's someone in the programme earlier, as United take the short corner, said, why would a Scottish club turn down £20 million for a player? And Celtic last season with Engels, as the shot is rifled high over the bar there by Benny. Taki mentioned the previous bid from Nottingham Forest for Engels. We saw the bid for Shermiti at Rangers last weekend.
Absolutely.
It's the kind of money you simply can't turn down.
No, the one they got for Jota,
Scottish
the one they got for I'm going through them. Tierney when he went was quite incredible. Yeah, Kyogo Maeda, not that same.
Dreadful ball that time by Bauer, and it's a chance for United to pull one back. Benny on his right foot shoots, waited way too long, blocked by McGregor. And the debutant's happy that that's come to nothing, but still United come with Euro out to the left for Adje. Down the left side, they're going to try and whip a cross in towards the back post, which they do. Scales wins the header, and that's going to go behind for a corner to United on this near side. It's
turned into a strange game, because Dundee United still trying to get in the front foot, still trying to make things happen, and Celtic probably very much their eye on midweek, just looking to get through it, and they've got guys that have seen the game out, have got them at 4-0, and guys that have come on want to try and get a bit of tempo and want to make a name and hit the ground running. So no, the game's at a weird kind of tempo.
And the corner comes in, it's headed well wide by Benny. The near post, it was an opportunity again for Dundee United, and it stays at 4-0 to Celtic.
And they've not been lacking in chances. That's the thing. When you see that tomorrow in the papers and it's Celtic 4-0, you're going to think it's been a rout, and it's absolutely not been.
I can guarantee you a sentence that will come out of Jim Goodwin's mouth at full time will be, I feel like I'm repeating myself. After the game at Tynecastle last week, he's going to say that, or words to that effect. However, Celtic have taken their chances, and they always seem to take their chances.
And the unfortunate thing is, as a manager and as a football team, regardless of how these results happen and how much you're in the game, if you keep getting beat and you just keep not being at it, then something needs to be fixed. And it's usually harder that way, because if there's something that's glaringly obvious, you can fix it, but when you just don't quite be able to put your finger on it, and it's just little kind of yards and little decisions that are costing you, it can be much harder to fix.
United have a throw-in down by the corner flag over on the left side, high up the pitch here. The attack, the goal to the right. There were many United fans headed for the exits as soon as that fourth goal found the net through Nugren. In comes the throw, long ball, and then about the penalty spot, away by Scales. Yoro hits it first time, and over the bar, and it will stay United 0, Celtic 4. Remember earlier today, Aberdeen and Ross County both coming through ties against Dundee and Dunfermline respectively. That after Kilmarnock sealed their place in the last 8 last night with their win over local rivals here, United. Twice behind in the game they were before Nikki Klishenko won it late on. And tomorrow, 4 games: Hibernian Partick Thistle, Heart of Midlothian Cali Thistle, Stenhousemuir Motherwell. They all kick off at 2. At 4 o'clock it's Rangers against St Mirren, and then it's the draw for the quarters. And there's a long range effort to say the least there, which is fired high over the crossbar from well out, and it was never threatening Sinisalo's goal. And yeah, it was a hit and hope, that one, and it will remain here 4-0 to Celtic.
Jim Goodwin just on the sideline there, just trying to galvanise his players and make sure that they keep pushing. They've got a long season ahead of them, and they don't want to give up. They try and keep pushing and try and fix whatever's wrong and try and find the goal. They've got a lot to play for. Yeah, they're out the cup, but they've got another 10-15 minutes to play and try and get used to these new players, try and get them bedded in, and try and find out what's wrong and fix it ultimately.
Yeah, in the small matter of a derby next Saturday, this time next Saturday. There's sliding in on the far side, Donovan put it out for a throw-in. It's come off Benny last actually, so it'll be a Celtic ball over there. And Donovan taking his time over this. Jim Goodwin stands hands in pockets, the edge of his technical area with the Celtic support all behind him. Tough one for him to take today. Well, that is, I guess, Mark Reynolds, the ideal fixture for him to pick his players up when they train at St Andrews this week, a derby.
Yeah, I think if you can't get your players up for a derby, then you're really struggling. But as I say, it's going to be difficult, another difficult week, because they haven't done much wrong, and he'll be wondering how he fixes it, because he's now for the second week in a row seeing the same problems and facing the same issues that he obviously just can't put his finger on what it is that needs to change.
Benny on the far side works it back out to the touchline. One back by Hassan, he's done well there. And he's got it back on the right, now he's charging forward. Adjei for company does well to win it back off him.
Yeah, he doesn't look much fit, does he, Hassan? He does a couple of times. He's got the ball now in a deeper position, and he just didn't have the legs to get away from the defender.
Yeah, O'Neill pretty much said that before.
Yeah.
In fact, he kind of alluded to the fact that he might not get any time at all, but he is on the pitch because they're so comfortable.
Yeah, and I think it's important to get him into the team just to settle him in. He's only been at the club a couple of days. But just to get him used to the players, get him used to the way that they actually play, the tempo of the game here in Scotland, all those things matter.
I think that's what Jim Goodwin's trying to get from his players. Celtic are still benefit from this game. They're getting to bring in players, they're getting to give them matches, they're getting to get them sharp and prepared for midweek. Whereas if the game peters out for United, it's the last 10 minutes is kind of dead duck for them, and there's not much happening. And the only one I can hear shouting from up here is Jim Goodwin, who's lambasting his players to keep going and make something happen. Yeah,
and it almost fell there for Mehdi Mergem, but Sinisalo flops down at his feet to hold on to it. Mark was saying it's a strange game now. Celtic aren't going on the hunt for more goals going by this, playing within themselves a little bit with that huge match to come on Wednesday. United are still plugging away, despite the fact they're out of the cup. McCowan clips it forward, looking for Durrani's onto it, left side of the penalty area at the byline. Low ball across, will be swept clear by Forbes. And again, can't keep it in play, and it's out for a Celtic throw-in on this near side. Dundee United 0, Celtic 4.
I was just going to say, such is the competitiveness of the squad for Celtic. You've got guys there that have come on as a sub who are trying to catch the manager's eye, who are playing for a shot, or who are wanting to play a bigger part in the Celtic season. So they're out there trying to impress. Yeah, there's guys on just trying to get a bit of fitness and trying to get their sharpness up, but this is an opportunity for Celtic to go, or Celtic players to go and show that they should be more involved in what is a very competitive squad now.
There's real pressure on them, Pat, isn't there, for those next 2 games, the 2 legs of the Champions League playoff?
No, I think it's a vital component to their season now to get into the Champions League and win this game. And if they don't, then there'll be criticism again. Even though they've signed the players, the players might have, I think the criticism would be, could they have got them in there earlier?
Last hit 4 themselves last night against Ried, 4-1 win. The Austrian Bundesliga, like Celtic, they've been given next weekend off domestically. United have a man down, might require some treatment. It's Chevy, who's spark out, flat in his back. That's the last thing Jim Goodwin needs is injuries. As I said earlier, the other Scottish representatives in action over the next 2 Thursdays in Conference League qualifying, and in Hearts' case, their second legs on the Wednesday. They've had their Premiership matches postponed next weekend to help out with that. They did it last year, didn't help much. Let's hope it's going to help the clubs this term. We saw Celtic out to Cairac, we saw Rangers humbled by Club Brugge, Aberdeen by FCSB, and Hibs went out, albeit narrowly, to Legia Warsaw. So let's hope that the break that they'll have from domestic duty next week will have the desired effect continentally, because the coefficient, as well as their own prospects, have been taking an absolute battering over the last few seasons. And Celtic will have designs, Pat, and Martin O'Neill will have designs. This would be, if they get the Champions League, he'll be kind of rubbing his eyes in disbelief that he's going back to the days in his first spell with those memorable European nights against the likes of Barcelona and Benfica and the rest, Juventus, back in his first spell. And they'll have designs on getting through the league phase as they did 2 seasons ago under Brendan Rodgers.
Getting in now into the league phase gives you a real opportunity, because if you get there, you've got all these different teams to play. A league format much better than I think than the group stage, where if you lost the first couple of games in the group, you were almost out of it. So I think it's a great format. And Martin, if he can, I think he still needs maybe 1 or 2 players to come in. But getting through that this qualifying round would allow them to even go and spend again and bring in. I think you do need a bigger, stronger midfielder to come in, help out McGregor in that position also.
Well, we're going to have time to debate that while we wait for the post-match interviews to come later. After full time, United have the game back underway after that lengthy stoppage, and they've made a change as well, with Pan Kamara replacing Chevy, who was injured there. Here comes Benny, the left side of the box. He arches his back, shoots over the bar. See what he's trying to do there and find that top right corner. He's off target. United have had a few of those this evening, and again, efforts on target again is an issue for Dundee United, as it was at Hearts last week. Yes, they've hit the bar twice, the post twice, because that doesn't count as a shot on target. And for this game this evening, once again, 0 shots on target, Mark. They've had 13 goes at goal, none of them have hit target.
Yeah, and a few of those have been speculative shots from 20-30 yards out that have went wildly into the stand behind the goal. So no, they'll be disappointed, and I think part of the problem is that they're not converting those chances, or not even at least working the goalkeeper.
James Forrest attacking the United box, to his left for Duran, lays it back to McGregor, forward to Scales, left angle in the box, out to Forrest, wide in the left, his cross is cut out behind for the corner of Josh Rollins. 4-0 Celtic, closing stage of the match, 6.5 to play the 90.
Yeah, good play from Celtic there, around the edge of the box, little integrated passing, and then Josh Forrest failed to get the ball into the box when they had 2 or 3 players making good runs, but it was good play. I think that part of the game tonight, Celtic will be very, very happy with. When they did get the ball in the box, they were absolutely clinical, and they look a real threat.
Bauer will take the corner between the shed and the fair play Jerry Kerr stand. In comes the corner, Scales tries to flick for goal. It's nodded clear by a United head. McGregor to Bauer, he's going to get it back from McGregor. Nice little interchange, and again Bauer to Duran, left side of the box. Good slide challenge to get it away from danger by Rollins. United come down the right with Mergem, Duran all over him. One back well, Celtic continuing to play, but Bauer's giving it away, not for the first time since he's come on. Carter Vickers will take a book in there. It's a cheap one. 4-0 up, midway, beyond the midway point of his own half, but he decided to haul Yoro to the ground and gets a cheap yellow.
Yeah, what will please Martin O'Neill on that occasion was when Duran gave the ball away, took 2 or 3 of his midfielders out of play, but he ran back, used his pace, got back and put the challenge in deep in his own half. and that's what you're looking for, that attitude.
And you hear the fans reacting to that as well. There was a cheer went up from both sets of supporters in the stands for Celtic, and that's what they expect of their players. That they've got that quality, but they need that work rate defensively as well.
Benny for United into Kamara, who'll roll it low out to this right side for Mergem, level with the Celtic 18-yard line. Skips in field, Forrest with a challenge. Mergem turns away from him, faces the Celtic goal, moves it in field for Rollins, but won back by Bauer. The pass in field goes straight to Yoro, and his touch goes out of play for a Celtic throw-in on this near side as Celtic march on to the quarter-finals, the final 5 minutes of the 90 here. And Dundee United's torture, and it has been torture for them. Once again, a repeat of last week in Edinburgh. 4-0 Celtic.
When's the draw, Liam?
Tomorrow after the game at Ibrox. Rangers play St Mirren. That's the last of the second round ties to take place. And as I said earlier, it's an unseeded draw as Kamara finds Yoro at the edge of the Celtic box. Knocked clear though by Carter Vickers up to the halfway line. And then Esselink to the left, it goes to Forbes at the centre circle, forward to Benny. Left central position, finds Kamara at the edge of the centre circle. And he's looking for somebody in Tangerine ahead of him, under pressure from Tannadice to shift it back to Forbes. And out to that left side, fired forward by Ajay, but given away. And McGregor's onto it, finds McCowan, and Hassan's away to the right if he can find him. He's asking too much, he's overhit the pass. And he goes out for a throw-in on the far side. It's not going to matter though. Dundee United 0, Celtic 4.
No, this definitely won't, but I think Dundee United would love to have got a goal back. 13 shots, none of them on target. That's not good stats, to be perfectly honest, but they're getting into good positions.
You can't get much closer being on target than hitting the ball twice in the post twice. It is harsh, it officially isn't on target, but Jim Goodwin would look at those as
apologies. Absolutely, those efforts were.
But no, they're not classed as on target, as United come through with Rollins forward. It's cleared by Murray though at the edge of his box.
I think the argument is you've not worked the goalkeeper. You've not forced the save out the goal, and you've hit the post in the bar, and it's unfortunate, but these are the little things that United need to start looking at, because if this keeps happening, then it's going to be a long season.
Benny for United into the box. They try and pull one back here. It's cleared by Bauer, who's in a good defensive midfield position inside his own box. Goes out to Hassan on the far side. And he's got McCowan ahead of him. Hassan skips infield. And goes back to Murray. He'll then take a touch and roll it with the right foot out to Scales on this near side. Up the line for Forrest. Beaten to it by Rollins. And out of play it goes. Mergen can keep it in. Celtic have a throw in on this near side. And Liam Scales is going to take it. How do you think he's done at left back, Pat?
Yeah, he's done okay. He hasn't played, so he's happy to be in the team. That's not his position. Early on, his passing was a little bit off, but that's rustiness. There's no question about that. But he sticks to his task really well, Liam. That's the point. And it's easy for to criticise. But when you go out into that position, it's slightly different than playing centre half, where you've got really nobody to pass the ball except the winger.
Duran skips away from a couple of challenges, one back by Yoro though. Now it's with Kamara. Benny's on his bike if you can find him. Yoro finds Benny left side, but he's had to turn back, face his own goal to get it under control under pressure from Donovan. And now it's a chance for United with Yoro from Kamara, out wide right Mergem. Left foot chip ball comes in, it's headed away by Murray. And then it ricochets between a couple of players. It breaks for Ajay. His ball forwards cut out, and then he fouls it, and Celtic have a free kick as we tick into minute 90 here. It's the subject of Liam Scales at left back. Kieran Tierney rested this evening, which is interesting in the respect that when Tierney was breaking into the Celtic team initially, and it was Ronnie Dyla gave him his debut, but primarily he came to the fore under Brendan Rodgers in his first spell. Rodgers kind of played him every single week and played him for 90 minutes as well, even when Celtic were coasting in matches. Now, he's had injury problems, obviously, Tierney, since those early days, but he was kind of run into the ground early in his Celtic career. Now he's at this point, he's later in his career, obviously. Martin O'Neill taking this opportunity to give him a little bit of a rest, Pat.
Yeah, he is, but I laugh at that. A player can't play 90 minutes. There was a time when there was no substitutes, Liam. There was a time when you didn't have a big squad. You normally had a squad of maybe 15, 16 players. You won leagues.
You just had to stand there.
Now they have big squads and people can't play 90 minutes.
From United, Mergem on the midway point of the Celtic half. He's going for goal and they've hit the woodwork again. What a shot from Mergem with a left peg, swung at it, and it clashes off the angle of the left-hand post and bar and bounces behind for a goal kick. Celtic have scored 4 times, they lead 4-0. Dundee United have hit the woodwork 5 times. It's remarkable, Mark Reynolds.
Yeah, technically still not got a shot on target, which will kill Jim Goodwin.
No stoppage time. Stephen McLean ends it as Martin O'Neill shakes hands with Jim Goodwin. He once was a youth player at Celtic under. And it's a comfortable passage in the end for O'Neill's men as they go through at Dundee United's expense. United performed well, particularly in that first half. They had a lot of the ball in the latter stages, but Celtic were already through. They led through Trusty on 22. That coming after both Eskison and Adje clattered one off the left-hand post. Trusty opening the scoring in 22 minutes. And Duran scoring his first Celtic goal 2 minutes later to make it 2. And that's the scoreline was at the interval. Sapsford would go on to hit the bar. And almost immediately after that, Tannadice made it 3-0 on the counter-attack. And after it went 3-0, Esselink headed off the crossbar before Benjamin Nygren fired home into the far top right corner to make it 4. And that's where the scoring ended. But as you heard there, Mehdi Mergem, the United sub, had time to clatter one off the junction of post and bar right at the end. United hitting the goal frame no fewer than 5 times tonight. But it's getting the ball over the line and into the net which counts, as they say in darts: trebles for show, doubles for dough. Well, Celtic were utterly ruthless in front of goal. United didn't take their opportunities when they came around, and that all leads to a final scoreline, with Celtic going through to the quarter-finals. Dundee United 0, Celtic 4.
Dundee United versus Celtic.
The Scottish League Cup, live on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland.
When they're away at uni and the show you all love is on telly. When you're miles apart but still laughing at the same joke. When the emojis come thick and fast.
Triple smiley face and a heart.
I knew they'd love that.
Nothing brings us together like great TV. Make sure your child has a TV licence when they go to uni, so they're covered to watch all TV channels and BBC iPlayer. And you'll still enjoy all those TV moments in the family group chat. Search TV licence students.
It is Sports Sound here on BBC Radio Scotland with Liam McLeod, Pat Border and Mark Reynolds. The Celtic players taking the acclaim of their supporters as they made their way through to the last 8 of the Scottish League Cup, the draw for which will be made tomorrow evening. So earlier today, routes into the quarter-final draw for both Aberdeen and Ross County. The Dons getting revenge on Dundee, who beat them in the league last week. A double from Kevin Nisbet in the second half, either side of one from debutant Michi Intello, sending Aberdeen through at Stephen Presley's team's expense. And at East End Park, disappointment for the championship side against League One Ross County, so it's still taking some time to get used to that. County in the third tier again. Lindsay and Chin scoring either side of a goal from Oyerwath, and all the goals again just as Pittodrie came in the second half of that one. And that all came after Kilmarnock's thrilling 3-2 victory over Ayr United last night at Rugby Park. Twice Ayr in front through Sturton and Taylor. Hugo and Shunning Larson twice pegged them back, and Nicky Koshenko in the 89th minute sending Killy through to that draw, which will follow tomorrow's last 16 ties. 3 of them kicking off at 2 o'clock. Hibernian against Partick Thistle, Hearts against Cali Thistle, Stenhouse Muir against Motherwell. And then at 4 o'clock it is Rangers against St Mirren. We will have commentary from Easter Road and Ibrox, regular updates from Tynecastle and Ochilview. on what I'm sure will be another exciting day of Scottish football action in the League Cup. And as we've been watching here at Tannadice tonight, Dundee United putting up a show in many respects, but not enough. And Jim Goodwin devised his team and his plan for this one. He'd have thought, if you'd said to him afterwards that you'd be hitting the crossbar 5 times, he would have thought, wow, what pressure we must be putting on this Celtic team. Yet they're on the receiving end, as they were at Tynecastle in the league last Sunday, of a 4-0 reverse. We'll get to Goodwin and O'Neill, because Andy Burke's a reporter, he'll be speaking to them shortly. But Pat, we'll start with Celtic. They're through, they've got the job done tonight. How many times Martin O'Neill's Celtic teams have blown opponents away? Normally they've got their foot in the throat from the start to the last. That wasn't the case tonight. It's again, like last week for Goodwin, it's a match where the scoreline in his mind won't be fitting of the performance of his players, but O'Neill will be just delighted to get through.
Oh, absolutely delighted. Shut out, getting players onto the pitch. They looked really, devastating when they got inside that or up around the box. They were clinical and they scored a goal, so that gives them great confidence. But it was a really, really, really strange match in the sense that Dundee United, as we say, they had 14 shots, 5 off the woodwork,
none on target.
But the other efforts that they had, they were shooting maybe from about 20 yards, where maybe they could have settled down a little bit, and they were well over the crossbar at times. But they never got into that critical area where inside the box and into that 6-yard box penalty spot. They never really got to that position. Everything was from almost outside the box, and that's the difference. Celtic, when they got inside the box, they were really, really good and clinical. But they had plenty of possession, Dundee United, second half, to pin Celtic back at times. They got done on the counter-attack when that ball was played up to who. They went man for man at the back, obviously similar to what Kilmarnock did against them, but Celtic exploited that really, really good for that third goal, and that was a critical goal for me. And that's the difference between the two sides. Celtic 4 goals, probably they will say that was a fantastic result, but they'll analyse it and they will have to look at it and say, well, okay, why did Dundee United have so many chances? Why did they get into good positions? Were we doing what we have to do defensively correctly? Who's the players who's going to go into the team now? And really, because they'll be up against a team on Wednesday that'll be a decent, good team, and they will hit them on the counter-attack. They'll play almost like what Celtic did to Dundee United there tonight.
That's a dangerous game for Celtic Wednesday. We'll have a little look at that as they play Lask in Champions League qualifying on Wednesday and the subsequent Tuesday. But at the end of the day, Mark, from Martin O'Neill and his point of view, you take a 4-0 win at Tannadice any day of the week, don't you?
Absolutely. You take a 4-0 win, you take no injuries, you take getting to blood a couple of players, get some debuts, get your key guys off with good time in their legs. So from a Celtic point of view, things couldn't have gone much better. As Pat touched on there, there's a couple of bits in the game that they'll analyse and question why they were exposed or how Dundee United manages to get shots on target and causing problems. But that's going to happen again, and they're still bedding players in, that they're still getting up to speed for the season, and they'll know, Celtic know when they play in Europe, that they need to be better, and they will go through the gears. But you can only beat what's in front of you, and they've done that today, and Dundee United will be bitterly disappointed, because it was a strange game. I feel like every time I come to Dundee and watch a game, there's something that you just can't expect. But they were very much in the game, played some nice stuff. The opening kind of quarter managed Celtic well and kept them at arm's length, and they had a good shape, and they weren't great on the ball, but they were doing all right. They were competing and they were frustrating Celtic, and then not out of nowhere, but Celtic just go through the gears and they get that goal from a set piece, which we touched on. They were disappointed to have lost a goal from a set piece as a team, Dundee United, that's, I think, the last couple of seasons been really strong defending their box, and then to kind of not get back and quickly